Can Justin Herbert win the MVP in 2025? Welcome back to the Electric Edge. I'm your host, Taylor, and today we're diving into a question that's been buzzing across Bolts Nation for years. Can Justin Herbert actually win MVP this year? We've seen the arm, we've seen the numbers, but what does he need from himself and from this revamped offense to break into the conversation and actually take home the hardware in 2025? Stick with me. We're getting into past trends, new weapons, and what this season needs to look like for number 10 to go from elite to MVP elite. So let's start with the obvious question. What does it actually take to win MVP in the NFL today? Over the past 6 seasons, the pattern has been undeniable. If Justin Herbert wants to break into the MVP conversation in 2025, he needs to meet a very specific standard. And we've seen it play out clearly year after year. Let's look at this year's MVP, Josh Allen. Allen threw for 4,573 yards, 40 touchdowns, and added 9 rushing touchdowns. The Bills went 13-4, clinched the number 1 seed in the AFC, and Allen finally delivered the balance of passing efficiency and rushing threat that fans and voters have been waiting for. The narrative: this is the year Josh Allen puts it all together. And he did, with team success and primetime highlights to match. Let's talk about the 2023 MVP, Lamar Jackson. Jackson returned to MVP form with 3,678 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns, and 821 rushing yards with 5 rushing touchdowns. The Ravens finished 13-4, had the number 1 seed in the AFC, and ran one of the most complete teams in football. What set Lamar apart was his command of the offense, less about running wild, more about showing he could be a pocket leader and a game manager at an elite level. The media narrative: Lamar 2.0, more complete, more dangerous. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes' campaign. Mahomes won the MVP in 2022. Mahomes delivered 5,250 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and just 12 interceptions with a 67% completion rate. The Chiefs went 14-3, earned the number 1 seed, and Mahomes won the MVP after trading away Tyreek Hill. He followed it up with a Super Bowl win, making the MVP feel like a preview of the inevitable. The story was clear. Mahomes doesn't need stars. He is the star. Let's go back to Aaron Rodgers' campaign in 2021. Rodgers led the Packers to a 13-4 record with 4,115 yards, 37 touchdowns, and just 4 interceptions. Efficiency was the name of the game. Rodgers played clean, surgical football, and dominated the NFC. This was back-to-back MVPs for him, fueled by consistent top seed performances and elite decision-making. Aaron Rodgers won in 2020 as well. Rodgers had one of the most efficient seasons in NFL history. 4,299 yards, 48 touchdowns, 5 picks, and 121.5 passer rating. Insane. The Packers went 13-3 and were the number 1 seed in the NFC. The narrative: vintage Rodgers is still the best quarterback in football. And let's go back one more year to 2019, where Lamar Jackson won his first MVP. Jackson exploded with 3,127 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, plus 1,206 rushing yards and 7 rushing TDs. The Ravens went 14-2 and were the number 1 seed in the AFC. He became the second unanimous MVP in NFL history, joining Tom Brady. The narrative: we've never seen this before, and that excitement mattered. So if you're sensing a theme, here it is. 4,000 to 5,000 passing yards, 35 plus total touchdowns, the number 1 or 2 seed in your conference, 12 to 14 wins, and a narrative, something the media can cling to and run with. It's not just about numbers, it's about impact, and that's what voters reward. So now the question is, has Justin Herbert ever been close to that level? Let's talk about his best season so far and why it didn't get him anywhere near the MVP podium. The closest he's come so far, 2021, no question. In his second year in the league, Herbert threw for 5,014 passing yards. He had 38 touchdowns, just 15 picks, and a 65.9% completion rate. And he had over 300 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. He finished the season second in the NFL in passing yards, third in touchdowns, and had multiple jaw-dropping moments, 50-yard bombs, fourth down conversions, and even leading a few fourth-quarter comebacks. On paper, it was one of the most productive seasons by a second-year quarterback in NFL history. But here's the problem. The Chargers went 9-8, and they missed the playoffs. That season was full of wild swings. A 4-1 start, where they looked like early contenders, then a midseason collapse, including a blowout loss to Baltimore and a tough 3-game skid. They finished the year with that infamous Week 18 overtime loss to the Raiders, the one where a tie would have sent both teams to the postseason. Herbert played his heart out in that finale. 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, and converted multiple fourth and longs. But it still wasn't enough. And in the eyes of MVP voters, 9 wins just isn't enough. Not when Mahomes, Rodgers, or even Brady are sitting at 13-3 or 12-4 and leading their teams into deep playoff runs. There's another piece to this too, the media narrative. Herbert has never been the league's media darling. He's not controversial. He's not flashy off the field. He doesn't really trash talk. He's a quiet Oregon guy who shows up, works hard, is loved by his teammates, and smokes meat and fishes in the offseason. And while we respect that as fans, the reality is that MVPs are storylines, not just stat lines. When Rodgers won MVPs, the narrative is ageless brilliance. When Lamar won, it's we've never seen this before. When Mahomes won, it's he's redefining the game. Herbert, in 2021, his narrative was promising young QB. Maybe next year. That's just not enough to earn first place votes. The most painful part, if the Chargers had just snuck into the playoffs, even as a 7 seed, Herbert likely finishes top 3 or 4 in MVP voting that year. But in this league, and especially with this award, wins matter more than yards. And without a playoff appearance, voters don't take you seriously, no matter how many bombs you throw. Now imagine this. Take 2021 Herbert, give him a 12-5 team record, a top 3 seed, and a few national spotlight wins. That version, that guy is right there in the MVP race. So now the question is, what's changed in 2025? What makes this year different? And what would it take to finally push him across that MVP threshold? So let's talk about this year. Because this year, things feel different. And not just from a fan's perspective. I'm talking about real structural changes in the Chargers organization that could finally unlock the MVP version of Justin Herbert. In my opinion, Jim Harbaugh is the key piece to Herbert being in the MVP conversation. Say what you want about his style, but one thing is undeniable. Harbaugh builds quarterbacks into winners. At Stanford, he turned Andrew Luck into the most polished NFL-ready quarterback we've ever seen. In San Francisco, he developed Colin Kaepernick into a Super Bowl-caliber dual-threat leader. And at Michigan, he coached up J.J. McCarthy and won a national championship with a quarterback who wasn't even projected to go top 10 at one point. Harbaugh knows how to take talent and wrap a winning structure around it. And we know with Justin Herbert, he's inherited the most physically gifted quarterback he's ever worked with. Herbert also gets a second year in the same offense with the same coordinator. Yes, as a fan, Greg Roman is very frustrating to watch sometimes with his questionable play calling on key situations, but the stability for Herbert is key to getting him into the MVP conversation. Roman is known for building run-heavy, play-action-based attacks that take pressure off the quarterback and maximize efficiency. And while his past schemes were tailored to mobile quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, the early reports from Chargers camp say the 2025 version of this offense is going to lean into tempo, spacing, and high percentage throws with deep shots layered in. That means more yards after catch opportunities for his receivers, quick decision-making concepts to keep Herbert upright, simplified reads with layered route trees that allow his arm talent to shine without forcing hero ball. And in other words, Herbert is finally put into the position to play smart and not desperate. So let's talk about Herbert's weapons, because this year's supporting cast looks like the most complete group he's had since entering the league. The wide receiver room has been completely retooled. Through the draft, the Chargers added Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith, both of whom bring explosiveness and crisp route running to stretch the field and attack space. One of Herbert's favorite targets, Mike Williams, is back, and pairing him with a healthy, confident Ladd McConkey coming off an 1,100-yard season as a rookie adds immediate credibility. And don't overlook Quentin Johnson. He's made a noticeable leap from year 1 to year 2, showing better hands, sharper breaks, and a stronger connection with Herbert in camp. Altogether, this group finally has what every elite quarterback needs: speed, separation, and versatility. Guys who can win off the line and make plays after the catch. That stretches defenses vertically, opens up the middle of the field, and gives Herbert more clean one-on-one reads, exactly what a QB with his arm talent thrives on. Let's talk about the tight end room as well. It has also improved in the offseason. Tyler Conklin brings consistency and veteran savvy, and the Chargers added Andre Gatson II in the 5th round, a big body target with soft hands and a red zone potential. Gatson gives Herbert something he hasn't consistently had: a true mismatch in the seam who can win on fades, posts, and contested catches when space gets tight near the goal line. And then there's the running back room, maybe the most quietly impactful part of this offensive rebuild. The Chargers added Najee Harris, a proven power back who brings short yardage reliability and can handle 20-plus touches a game without wearing down. But the real upside? Omarion Hampton, the rookie out of North Carolina. A compact, one-cut runner with burst and vision, tailor-made for Roman's zone blocking scheme. Both Harris and Hampton offer pass-catching upside and protection value, which gives Herbert safe outlets and keeps the offense balanced. Instead of forcing plays downfield under pressure, Herbert now has built-in checkdown options that don't kill drives. They keep them alive. And for the first time in his career, Justin Herbert isn't being asked to be Superman every down. He just has to distribute, diagnose, and deliver. And you give a quarterback like him this much support, that's when MVP-level production follows. And before I forget, let's not overlook the offensive line either. The 2024 version of this unit struggled with consistency and allowed Herbert to take too far many hits. In 2025, with key additions and improved health, this line looks more cohesive. The early buzz is that protection will be better, and that means more time for deep routes to develop, fewer sacks, and, let's be honest, more highlight throws that catch the national spotlight. The question now is, what exactly does Herbert need to do, statistically and situationally, to make MVP voters take notice? All talent is there, the system is better, the support is deeper. But the MVP is about production, team success, and a story that gets told every Sunday night. First, let's talk numbers, because yes, voters absolutely care about the box score. For Herbert to be taken seriously as an MVP frontrunner, here's what he likely needs to post: 4,800 plus passing yards. That puts him near the top 3 in the league. 40 plus total touchdowns, passing and a few rushing help. Less than 10 picks. Turnover discipline shows control and maturity. A completion rate above 66% to reflect efficiency in this new offense. A passer rating in the 105 plus range puts him right in line with past MVPs. Those are Mahomes, Burrow, Allen levels, and Herbert is more than capable of hitting them if this offense gels. But here's the real kicker. You can't win MVP on a 9-8 team. We've learned that in 2021, when Herbert threw for over 5,000 yards, it still got overlooked. To be in the real MVP conversation, the Chargers need to win at least 12 games, ideally 13. And that's what I predicted in my prior video, that the Chargers will be 13-4 this season. They need to be in the hunt for the AFC West and pushing for a top 2 seed. The league doesn't hand out MVPs to players on the outside looking in. You need to be leading the charge. MVPs aren't just made on stats alone. They're made on big moments, and Herbert will need a few defining ones. Statement wins. At least 1 or 2 against elite competition. Think beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead or lighting up the Eagles on a Monday night at SoFi. Those are resume builders. Fourth quarter heroics. The come-from-behind win, the game-winning drive, the 2-minute drill perfection. Think Aaron Rodgers in 2020 or Mahomes with 13 seconds left. MVP voters remember those drives. A viral highlight, like the no-look pass, the crossbody 60-yard bomb, or a play the whole football world goes, did he seriously just do that? Herbert has the arm and the guts to make that play. But this year, it has to happen when the game is on the line and the Chargers need him to make a play. The last piece of this puzzle is the story. Herbert already has the underrated superstar vibe. He's a technician. He's calm under pressure. He's marketable without being flashy. If the Chargers flip the script this year, go from fringe playoff team to legitimate AFC contender, go from fringe playoff team to legitimate AFC contender, Herbert becomes the face of that turnaround. The story writes itself. Harbaugh brings toughness, Roman brings structure, and Herbert finally gets what he's always deserved, a real shot. That's the kind of story that wins MVP votes. So to recap, Herbert needs elite stats. The Chargers need to be a top seed in the AFC, 1 or 2 nationally televised statement wins, some fourth quarter magic, and that did you see that play that defines the season. If Herbert checks those boxes, he's not just in the MVP conversation, he's leading it. So here's the truth. The talent's always been there. Charger fans know that. But MVPs aren't just built on talent. They're built on production, wins, and that spark that makes the media and fans believe. If this new look offense protects him and lets him cook, I truly believe Justin Herbert can be in that MVP conversation. Maybe even win it outright. So what do you think? Drop your predictions for Herbert's 2025 stats in the comments or tweet me at the Electric Edge podcast. And don't forget to subscribe because next week we're previewing the Chargers vs. Chiefs and how the Bolts can finally flip the script in the AFC West. Until next time, stay charged and bolt up.